friends, it's Trevor, it's Avery, it's Pat, it's the citywide special. The Eagles are 2-0 thanks to a dominant run game in the second half versus the Vikings. Avonte Maddox is likely out for the season with a torn pectoral. How will the Birds replace his production on the defense? Braden Mann is brought in as the long-awaited replacement for punter Aaron Sipos. The Eagles face off against the 2-0 Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. The Phillies win consecutive series against the Cardinals and Braves to maintain their top wildcard spot. Barring catastrophe, the Phils will have home field advantage for the opening playoff series. But concerns remain. Can the bullpen get it together? Will the starting rotation be deep enough? And can the bats stay hot? The Sixers sign free agent Kelly Oubre to a one-year deal. What can Nick Nurse get out of the veteran wing? All that and more coming up right now. How's it going, fellas?
Pretty good. Good to be back. We're back to a nice, lovely weather week. Had a good weekend. Played some kickball with these two lovely gentlemen here to my left and to my right. Not too banged up. Although I did get a little banged up after we played kickball, for sure. Played a little kickball, did little things here and there. But other than that, can't complain too much. The Phils are still hot. The Birds are 2-0. The Sixers made a little move. You know, all in all, it's been pretty good in Philadelphia and for me.
Yeah, we're chilling. It's definitely starting to be fall. I think today's the 20th. First official day of fall is the 23rd on Saturday, so we're feeling that. I was trying to look it up on my phone, but Trevor, you remember that one tweet that was like reasons why fall is the best?
Wait, what was this?
There, that one tweet from like a couple years ago. It's like reasons why fall is the best. It's like football, Halloween, something, and then anal sex and cornfields.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to find it on Twitter just now, but I couldn't find it. But happy that fall's back. I was going to ask, but I suppose I won't. Yeah, I won't ask about the anal sex and cornfields.
Yeah,
but anyway, we're doing well here.
We welcome all lifestyles here on the pod, but I just don't have any personal experience to speak of, unfortunately.
Haven't been to any cornfields lately.
Yeah, I do I do like a corn maze, but
yeah, did you ever go to the what was that corn maze in like Lancaster or some shit?
The one that people get lost in all the time? Or not lost, but like it's meant to be like really hard.
I mean, I don't. It's not super difficult. I mean, we used to in high school. We used to go there. I guess you weren't in Latin, right?
No, I wasn't in Latin.
Or like Latin club. Used to always do that as a field trip because it was like, it's just like the myth with the Minotaur and all that stuff. So we go out there. That Latin club ruled because it was just like any excuse for a field trip. They would just make the loosest connections to some like ancient like Roman myth or something and be like, yeah, we like that's a reason to go ice skating or go to the museum or whatever else it is.
Did they even have corn in ancient Rome? Probably not, right?
I don't know.
Corn?
I mean, labyrinths certainly, but not like a corn maze though.
Yeah, I think the maze would have been made out of
wheat
rocks.
Wheat was their main product. I don't
they
think corn
in ancient Rome.
Yeah, wheat was their main product. They had bread. They had bread, unleavened bread.
Good point.
I think of corn, I think more of like Central America kind of stuff, like maize and all that. They kind of got that into the fold. Not that they didn't have corn in Rome, but I think that bread was their more staple. But yeah.
Whatever. I mean, they didn't have corn mazes back then, but like Trevor said, it's just a loose connection.
But I'm sure they had anal sex back then, so
Oh, we've seen those urns.
Yeah,
those ancient urns.
Them Greeks were freaks.
And
Romans too, but
Yo, what about Yo Saturnalia? I'm thinking of something else. What was Yo Saturnalia?
That was like a thing we would do every. So that's like kind of where Christmas came from, sort of. It was because you know how like Jesus was actually born closer to like September or something.
Yeah.
That's sort of what it. So at the time, like ancient Roman like Christians would basically like sort of under the radar celebrate it around December, late December, because that's when Saturnalia was going on, which was like a pagan holiday. So that's how Christmas ended up being like on December 25th.
Gotcha.
We got to take a deeper dive into that come December, come Christmas time.
I don't remember anything about speaking Latin or the language part was like extremely difficult to me anyway. But that was like the language class you could take and kind of like skate by on like because there was like a mythology side. You know, there's always some projects there, so I would be able to pass my grade without really knowing anything about, you know, deconstruct, like conjugating the whatever the fuck like
ancient
that shit
language.
very difficult.
At the same time, it's the source of like a lot of languages now, so you learn stuff.
Definitely.
Romance languages,
Yeah.
Spanish, Italian, all that shit.
Yeah, I guess Saturnalia, my last thing on that was it was a pagan holiday, and you were talking about anal sex. Men would just
You were
have
talking
anal
about anal
sex.
sex.
You said it too, though.
You said it first, though. Don't be saying
did.
me. You
I
said.
But wouldn't men have anal sex on set? They probably didn't teach you that in high school, though.
Yeah,
but I'm
that
pretty
was a part
sure
of
I
the
heard that.
plan.
So
They ripped those pages out.
Yeah,
But,
the missing scripts.
anyway, yeah, we'll have more Saturnalia talk and probably more corn mace talk
Yeah, we can talk
in
a
the
little
coming weeks.
I think like Valentine's Day was also based on an ancient Roman holiday where they like went around and like hit women with whips and shit.
Jeez.
It was like fucked
Damn.
up. It was fucked up back then, you know. But now it's a nice little take your significant other out to dinner.
Yeah,
You know?
it's
I
come
mean,
full
It's
circle.
evolved
Yeah.
quite nicely, I suppose.
But yeah, for the record, we do not support whipping women on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, no, anal sex on Saturnalia,
Right.
totally cool.
No whipping women.
No whipping women, yeah, yeah, unacceptable behavior for sure.
Yo, how are y'all feeling after kickball?
My
Hell of
legs
a
are still little
start.
sore.
Only my right leg, Das Boot, is a little hurt. But
Tuesday was supposed to be leg day for me, but I had to do the cowardly skip.
Y'all were that
couldn't-
banged up?
same, I had to skip
It
my
was
leg day
pretty,
too. Just 'cause
I was
was
doing
hurt.
the past few days I was doing like if I wanted to like, put my legs up on the table or something, to do this move where you like
For real?
picking up your yeah, it was rough.
Maybe I didn't try hard enough.
My legs felt okay. It's just my right leg for kicking, like on this part, like the calf hurt. But I felt good compared to how I felt the time before. I think the heat, like you were saying, was a big factor, so that felt good.
It's not nicer out.
But drinking no water and only drinking a 6-pack of Twisted Teas definitely wasn't good for my body. But felt good all in all. Felt good to get a win to start the weekend.
Yeah, y'all team did good. I remember I was drafted first overall. I said you should have been drafted first overall.
I like being a late round.
I was dead last. I was playing with a chip on my shoulder,
You
man.
still
That
did pretty
that
good
was
though.
bulletin
Yeah.
board material for me, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were the 7th round pick. You were Jordan Mailata.
Yeah,
And we went
exactly.
down a player for a hot
just
second.
like Jordan Mailata.
Essentially, when I think of Trevor, I think of what athlete in the
400-pound Australian man.
I see some similarities. But yeah, I wasn't too banged up. Left leg's still a little stiff, but other than that, I felt great, man. Like I didn't skip leg day.
Mm-hmm.
I realized this, right? The last couple times we played kickball, I did leg day the day before. So that's probably why I was even more sore. This time I didn't do no leg day the day before, so I think maybe that helped. But whatever. It was fun. 25-19. It was like a football score, man.
Yeah.
And
Circling those bases.
we had my man over there.
Oh
snoring
man.
like a
Oh,
pigeon.
yeah.
Losing like a pigeon. We were in the outfield. I'm thinking like, man, these birds are really close to us right
Yeah.
now.
There's no like what people don't know what we're talking about. There was a man
Yeah.
just sleeping under this tree who was there when we arrived and was still there like 2-3 hours later when we left.
Yeah.
Was
Marconi
knocked out.
Plaza. When we first showed up, it was about 12:30. Oh, it's already snoring like a
Mhm.
bird, like a pig. We were playing the game. At one point, I'm like, damn, who is singing in the outfield? And it's him snoring. He had like this like high pitch, like
Mm-hmm.
snore. I'm just like,
It was
what the
beautiful
hell
for a
is
snore.
going
I will
on?
say, I wouldn't mind that. But like we took a halftime break and we were sitting on the wall, like complete opposite end of the field. You could still hear him. And then his friend fell asleep behind him. I don't know if it was his friend or whatnot, but there was a couple guys sleeping all together. But great day.
Yeah, great day to sleep outside
Yeah.
in a park.
For
And
sure.
no one kicked the ball and hit either of them. So
Close. I tried it,
Yeah.
not to hit him, but like we did get
He was
we
out
had
there
some-
pretty far.
we had
It
some
would've been
good-
tough.
some good boots. I got one good rip, but it went more left than it went straight. Almost hit a tree, but it was pretty good.
yeah, it was a good time. I think listeners, viewers, if you're around October 7th, that's the next day that I think we're trying to play. Marconi Plaza.
It's a good weekend.
Sometime around noon, 1 o'clock. Find us there.
It's a good weekend to go do it.
All right, so
what are we starting with?
We can get into the agenda. What do y'all want to start with?
Well, I guess
we overlooked the Phillies last week, so maybe we should make sure we get to them.
Awful good series win.
Good, 2 out of 3 against the dreaded Braves.
Also 2 out of 3 against the hated Cardinals.
Two teams that I do not like very much, so that's cool. Cardinals are obviously quite bad. So I kind of expected that. Would have been nice to get the sweep, but whatever. Braves series, first game. Or was it the first game we won?
Yeah, we won the first game.
We hit like a million home runs.
First game, and then we lost the second game.
Schwarber hit that like
500,
almost left the park.
Yeah.
I think, did they say that was like the longest home run in that park?
It was the second or third longest in the park.
Park's only like 3 years old or whatever.
Second or third longest in that park.
It's like 485 feet.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yep.
That's like a fucking metal bat.
As soon as he hit it, I just started cracking up.
Yeah, well, it was good to see Ryan Howard's expression, too, in there.
Yeah,
he hit some 450-foot dingers, man.
Yeah.
But that Cardinals series, man, I forget if we said this the last time we played the Cardinals, but I think it's very poetic that back in 2011, they kind of ended our dynasty. We all remember Roy Halladay pitching his ass off in that game against them in Game 5 of the NLDS. Then Ryan Howard making the final out, just curled up on the ground with his Achilles blown out. That was the end.
Yep.
So then it's kind of come full circle. We saw it last year. We ended the careers of Pujols and Molina. And, I mean, still they have Goldschmidt and Arenado, but their dynasty's over, dude.
Yeah.
So it's been really nice to sort of pay it forward and then to continue to dominate them this year. I think we went 5-1 against them this year.
I think the last time, I think we swept them the first time and 2 out of 3 the next or whatever.
But I don't want to spend too much time on them, but I just think that it's great to give them some karmic revenge. What goes around comes around, and they got theirs. May have been 12 years later, but we got our revenge.
And then with the Braves, good to see them get a good, tough series win away, which, JT, again, it's a whole different player, so that's a whole dynamic to the lineup where he plays.
His splits are insane.
It makes no sense. He fucking demolished that ball, and it's like you can't even. It's a weird thing, and he's even admitted that he's been asked about it, and he's like, I don't understand, I don't notice it until you guys bring it up, but then I'm like, okay, yeah, it is a thing, but it is weird to just see how. It's not like he's barely hitting him out of the park. Like my man was crushing it the other night. That ball went up into the second deck.
It was a long one.
So it's weird to see, but a win's a win. A series wins is a good series win. Good to see the bats alive again today. It's good to see that. I feel like when we played Atlanta at home the last series, every time we went to extra innings, it felt like, okay, Atlanta's going to, the Braves got it. No big deal. That's going to suck. But it's good to see that we were the team that finally came up victorious. It's good to see Kimbrel out there doing his thing. Hell of a fucking game from Casty. I mean...
Yeah, that play at the end of the 9th inning.
Yeah. You had Kruk. He was over here no, let it drop. And then he just caught it, turned around, zung it in, and unreal. Great catch by Stubbs. Way to make the move there, too, for him, because I think it's a good boost. He's a great fielder that way. His bats are kind of weak, but... all around, this great team win from guys that you don't expect to be the head people all the time, which is nice.
Harper had a rough game today, and
Yeah.
Cassidy steps up, hits 2 home runs.
Two at-bats in a row, pops them out of the park. One single home run, 1-2 home run. Yeah. Gets the game-saving out, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, they lose that game if he doesn't nail him at home.
Yeah.
Did you see the quote from him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
He said something in my head.
Saying, I was going to let it drop. Then at the last minute, the voice in my head told me to catch it and make a throw home. Like, what voice in his head?
Yeah.
He's a weird dude.
Yeah, he's a weird dude.
I'll take it, though.
I love that guy.
I think he fits right into that with that weird shit.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
It's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's funny how last year he was maybe not so much like a defensive liability, but it's very, very average fielder. And then when it really counted in the playoffs, there was that one game against the Braves in the NLDS where he totally saved the game with that sliding catch.
Yeah,
he made that catch a couple times in the
multiple
playoffs.
times. Yeah,
and it's his gloves time of year, I guess it's like coming around again. But yeah, Bullet like made a perfect throw to home. Yeah, awesome stuff.
Yeah, good to see. So it feels good. But they come home now to the Mets.
I think so.
Then they have the Pirates and then the Mets again.
Yeah, I mean this series against Atlanta was their last like serious team that they were playing.
Yeah, but I think that like this is when you get trapped, right? Where I think the magic number is 7 or whatever.
Yeah, it's down to 7.
So,
it was down to 7 after we won, but who knows what these other teams chasing
right.
us do.
So I think that like you can't you gotta at
Yeah.
least win each series.
I think they're 2.5 games ahead of the Diamondbacks right now for that top spot.
You still gotta get your job done. The Mets, I know they have nothing to prove. But you're gonna play them 6 times in the next, 2 weeks, week and a half, whatever it is. And I think that playing a team that has nothing to lose is just as dangerous as a team that has everything on the line. It's not like they're a middle of the road pack.
It's probably worse in some ways.
You have guys that don't give a shit. They want to play the villain. They want to play for that new contract next year and shit like that. So I think that they got to be on their P's and Q's. Nola had a good start. I think,
Yeah.
again, gets to the 4th, 5th inning and just kind of not quite falls apart, but you can see that he's not quite got the same targeting or velocity.
He had
something.
like 8 strikeouts today. I mean,
he did good, but
I still don't trust him. But
he
was
put the
pretty
Braves
good
in
today.
play a lot more than you would like to see in a game where it's a must win, so to speak, for us right now. But
So this is one of the questions I had. I put it in the rundown. I got it in my notes. Playoff start. Like, where the Phillies are probably going to clinch early enough that they can kind of set their rotation up the way they want it. Playoff start. Wheeler's your game 1 starter.
mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of talk about this on sports radio. People have asked Rob Thompson. I'm curious what y'all guys' opinions are. Who's your game 2 starter? Is it Nola?
The other option, I guess, would be Ranger.
That's who I think your other option is.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's crazy that we're even talking. Like, I mean, you would think that it would be like, yeah, of course it's Nola, but ugh.
Let's go Lorenzen. No, I'm kidding. I gotta go.
God.
I'm kidding.
That guy.
I think you gotta go Nola and then Ranger.
Yeah. I'm really sitting on the fence here. Like, my gut tells me to go Nola, but like we've seen him just falter so many times this year that I would almost rather trust Ranger. Ranger was playing very well in the playoffs last year. He's proved himself to be clutch when it matters. I know he's been kind of shaky this year, but I think I would probably trust him more than Nola. Maybe that's just me. I guess it also is matchup dependent. If you're playing a team that rakes against lefties in the first round, then you probably don't want to do it. But I don't know, man. Like,
I think the counter question then is, if the Phillies win the first game, who do you start? If they lose the first game, who do you start?
That's true. Yeah, I mean, in the playoffs, you don't have to say for sure. You don't have to declare a starter till like day of. I don't think.
If they win, you feel more comfortable probably playing.
Yeah, if they win the first game, then I'm going Ranger in the second game to clinch.
Mm-hmm. If you lose the first game,
I'm probably still going Ranger.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, I think that I think that the biggest key that we've been saying all year has been consistency. And, the hitting has kind of leveled itself out, knock on wood, where people have been doing pretty good and carrying their weight. The bullpen has still been very much a liability here, where
that's the thing that scares me the most going into the playoffs, for sure.
Bryce Harper can only have so many historic fucking bottom of the ninth home runs, which he's done a lot in the last month and a half, and they still lose those games.
Yeah,
it's like,
the game we were at. Yeah, they lost a bunch of these.
He gets a couple home runs, and you get to extra innings, and it's like, who are we going to put in the bullpen now? Like, I don't know. Like, there's nobody really that's strong. Like, who we got in here to come in here and close the deal out? But you gotta hope that playoff environment, South Philadelphia, it's different. I think that I still go with Nola for game 1 or 2, whatever they choose to go with, whatever. I think Ranger could definitely earn his time as the number 2 guy, but I think that you got to have some faith, and that's what playoffs are all about. You got to, you're hoping and praying that shit works out for your team that way, especially the way that CPB works out in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, anything could happen. Like we saw last year in the Brave series, Acuna loses the ball. on one of those plays and like ends up not catching it and ends up being a couple runs.
Yep.
That ended up being the deciding play in the game. Like we took off from there, but like weird things like that can happen just because the crowd's messing with him. Loses a ball in the sun, like loses the ball in the lights. That's the difference in a playoff game.
Same boat. I think it was also Acuna too, where Wheeler ended up, which I think was a lean-in to get hit. Wheeler was on fire, hit a guy for the Braves, and then was completely thrown off in that, and never was right again. So it really, the playoffs, everything is under a microscope. Everything is at such a high stake, and I think that, I think you got to go with your two aces. You got to trust and believe that your top two guys are your top two guys for a reason, give or take whatever kind of up and down they've had all year. But I think that you got to just trust and believe that push come to shove, they're going to get their job done, or at least be bailed out by their bats, which I think in the playoffs, when that place is rocking, if they get home field for at least the first stretch of the playoffs, it should be different. It's a different animal down there.
Yeah. I guess on the topic of the Braves, like obviously we'll have to win our first round series before we get to them. It's likely we face them in the second round if we do that. Do you like our chances against them?
I love it.
Maybe I'm thinking too far in the future, counting my chickens before they hatch, so to speak. But I'm just curious, after this series and really the season series, how do you feel about that? You said you love it?
I love it because historically this season we've played better. It's funny, both teams have played better away against each other. Where they have been owning us in Philly, we've been owning them, or at least winning each series away, or predominantly more of them away. And I think that if I'm going to keep those same odds, but now you give me playoff environment Philadelphia versus playoff environment Atlanta, I think that and I don't want to say steal a game at home because that sounds fucked up being that we're the home playoff team, but if Atlanta comes in all the time and pretty much is owning our ass all season, they're the better team on the books right now. If we can at least split, or if we do sweep them at home, I have no doubt this team can beat them away. And they've done it before. They could do it again.
Yeah.
I feel good about it. I'm not afraid of the Braves in the playoffs at all, if they get to us. If they get a bye, then they play us.
Yeah, they get a bye.
All right, well then, yeah, I'm not afraid of them at all.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty even matchup. It's going to be tough, but I think it's going to be pretty even.
Yeah, I don't know. Braves are fucking scary. I gotta say, I'm definitely not as confident against the Braves. Like it worked out last year. We got them, got their pitching a little bit. I mean, I guess you could say that their starting pitching can be susceptible to some letdowns here and there, but I mean, they just have every guy in their lineup is just
it is
capable
crazy.
of just hitting the ball out of the park. I mean, some of the leaps that their players have taken this year is just unbelievable. I don't know. Going into the season this year, the thing that I thought was probably going to happen is we were going to make it to the playoffs again. We were probably going to lose the Braves this time.
Damn.
It's just, I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. And it's a short series. It's baseball. The playoffs are a crapshoot. Anything can happen. But yeah, our bullpen terrifies me. I don't know how many guys in our bullpen can you really trust right now?
I feel like the Braves are probably saying the same thing though.
That's true. We've gotten to them. I mean, they've been.
We got to them today. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've been throwing Brad Hand out to us a couple times. I mean, that's Yeah, I don't know. They're just a fucking scary team. They're the best team in baseball. There's a reason they're the best team in baseball. I mean, I don't know. I think we can definitely match up against them, but I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to feel good about that series, just given how good they are.
Had we gotten swept this series, I would be more scared, but I think that the last two, we've played them fairly recently, right? So you figure you have the Mets, Pirates, the Mets, then you got whoever else that we play first in the playoffs. We don't really play them that far down the stretch if all things go right. So there's a sense of familiarity there. There's the history of us playing each other in playoffs. Sure, they're going to be mad and angst up because we, beat them last year when they had the best record in baseball or second best record in baseball, whatever it was. But I mean, yeah, there's a sense of, sure, if we lose that game, fine, they're the best team in baseball, whatever. But at that point, we assume the underdog role again, and that's okay. We do better with that. They're the best team in baseball. They've said it. They've been crushing it. They're historical. They have people that have everybody on their fucking top 7 people in the lineup have 100+ RBIs, or people are stealing bases and hitting home runs, and I get it. At the same time, though, now you have all the pressure. We got nothing. We had expectations at the beginning of the year, and we pretty much shattered our expectations within the first 3 months because they couldn't get their shit together. So I think that the way the track record's been lining up statistically with away and home records, I think we do better with that assumed underdog role. Harper's been looking way better. He's got the power back. All the bats are alive right now. Trey Turner looks phenomenal, knock on wood. All the young guys are performing. I think we're in a way better spot coming into it on the rise than someone that's pretty much been plateaued for the last 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, I won't disagree with you there. I think I heard how y'all are feeling. I got some stuff written down here. So, Trevor, to your point, the Braves are scary. The Phillies went 4-8 against them this year, which isn't a great winning percentage, right? But the run differential, it was 74-58. I get it. It's 16 runs. Spread out over 12 games, that's only 1.3 runs per game. You know what I mean? So, in a playoff game where something weird can happen, and then that leads to 2 runs when the differential over the course of a 12-game season series is 1.3, the Phillies could come out on top. The other thing is that's kind of skewed, right? The Braves had one game early in the year where they won 11-4, and the Phillies early in the year were bad. They were ass.
Yeah, not the same team they are right
now. No,
sure.
definitely not.
And then the Braves had that game the other night. They won 9-3, where it was Sanchez who did okay and Lorenzen who couldn't get an out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you figure between those 2 games, that's 13 runs. I know you can't really take them away. You kind of just even the playing field a little bit, which it is going to be a little more even in the playoffs. That 13 runs that you take out, it's a 3-run differential. And it kind of makes things a lot easier. Or not easier, more even.
Yeah.
And the Braves kind of feel that. The last series when the Phillies would come back only to lose the game, their manager said, like, yeah, this is one of the toughest teams we play. Like, we've played all season. They know how to come back. They have a lot of fight in them. Like, we know we can't really rest on our laurels here until the final out. So, I think we match up well. Do I think we win the series? I don't know. I'm not calling any predictions till we get there. But I wouldn't be surprised that if the Phillies do play them, that ends up going then the max number of games. I think it'd be 5 in that series.
Yeah.
And maybe the Phillies come out on top.
I think it's too early to predict that series win. Let's get through the
exactly.
The first
That's
one,
why I'm not calling it. But
I also think though too, like since August, maybe even late July, in all of MLB, I think the Braves have 91 total home runs since the start of July or start of August or whatever it is. We're ahead. We're 93.
Oh, Jesus.
So, like, that's the thing. We're like, yeah, I get it. The Atlanta's no knock. It's a very tough team. It's going to be challenging. It's not a cakewalk at all. However, I think that we've kind of, in a way, in my mind, have met them at that plateau from an offensive perspective. It really comes down to, can our pitchers get their shit done? Where if Nola has an Aaron Nola vintage day, we'll be okay. Because we know the bats are pretty much there. We haven't really...
What do you mean by vintage day?
Well,
like an Aaron Nola from 3 years ago.
You know what I mean? Like, Nola has...
I get that.
He has chances of being a, 7-inning,
sure,
10, 12 strikeout guy. We haven't seen it in a while, but it's in there somewhere. And I don't know, like we said before, his confidence is low, or he's playing for a contract year, or he's all fucked up in the head. Whatever he's got going on, something inside, he's, at the end of the day, that little kid inside wants to win a ring. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you're in the playoffs. All that other shit from the regular season stuff should go aside, and now you're back to being little kid. Boom, this is it, man. You play to be in the World Series. You were there last year. Come on now.
He's also playing for a contract,
and which is fine. But at least regular season, if you figure you play like shit, you don't make the playoffs, you can get paid. But you play like shit regular season, but then you pick it up where it matters, now you're talking big money. And, if he wants to decide to knuck up,
He wants
it's
to put his
time.
nuts to the fire. Shout out Johnny Gans.
He got that.
We'll get to him later.
Yeah.
Nola definitely takes the bus to work. No, I'm kidding. I don't know what he does to work, but,
Yeah, I remember I read an article, this is probably 5 or 6 years ago, but when he was a younger player early in his Phillies tenure, he would eat his pregame meal at Melrose Diner every day, then take the Broad Street line
that
to
shit's
work.
getting tearing down today.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Damn.
they had the
Yeah,
bulldozers
speaking of
out. The whole
Melrose Diner, they started demolition today.
Damn, we
looks
gotta
like a
pour
whole
one out
looks
for
like
the
a
old
bomb went off
Melrose.
out front. The whole
Damn.
front of the face is just ripped. It's so sad looking.
Had-
Everyone's just out front looking at it, holding up their little just. It's sad.
If we had liquor, I'd say we do a shot to Melrose Diner right now. Had many a 3 to 4 a.m. drunken meal there. Rest in peace.
Great mott sticks. Oh man,
Best mott sticks in the city, I dare say. 12
Yeah.
steps down's close.
mott
very
sticks.
close.
Plus, they always that marinara sauce always felt like it was homemade too.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, well,
the
boom.
mott sticks definitely were.
Yeah, and I respect they put it in plastic. That shit would always melt a little bit too. You get a little sticky plastic up in there.
You like a little plastic in on your cheese?
I don't mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A little local flavor.
Yeah.
I mean, a mott stick's already pretty processed anyway. What the hell's a little plastic?
Also, the
on there?
Melrose
Not
wasn't
gonna hurt.
necessarily super clean all the time, so who gives a shit? I don't care. It's fine. I grew up in Philly. Been drinking
True.
this tap water since I was born. I don't really care.
Yeah, you're alive
My
almost.
intestines are built for this shit.
Yeah, you're all alive almost 30 years later, so you're good.
Yeah. Is that about it on the Phils? We're
Talking about the fightings here. Yeah, I think we're doing all
talking
right.
about the fightings.
Yeah, that's all I got. Magic number 7 might be down to 6. Let's clinch and get the bullpen and some of
Yeah.
these important pitchers some rest and get ready for the playoffs.
I guess before we dive deep into the Eagles, should we touch on this on the Kelly Oubre signing?
Yeah,
A little bit of
we-
Sixers news. Been a while.
some non-James Harden news,
Yeah,
but it is
some
kind
positive.
of James Harden news.
It is
in
a little
way.
bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be a sign of things to come, but positive. I think it's a good positive move.
I don't mind it. I mean, it's kind of like he's not like an exciting player, but like a guy he's got some pop. I mean, he was averaging like 20 points a game last year or whatever, but he was like on a bad team, playing a lot more minutes, and he's going to play with us. But we needed some wings. I think at least like he's a guy that's like got some raw talent, some athleticism. Hopefully he's a guy that can fit well into a Nick Nurse coach team. I don't know. What do you guys think?
So with him, I like the idea of Kelly Oubre a lot more than I like him as a player, if that makes any sense. Because like the idea of him at his best is he has some length, some athleticism. He, in theory, should be a 3-and-D wing.
Yeah.
But the problem is, at least the last couple of years anyway, his like shooting percentage has been like the low 30s from 3.
Yeah, I was
And
just looking
that's
up his-
on- That's on like catch and shoot threes. We're not talking pull-ups or off movement. That's just, here, we'll throw you the ball, you shoot it. It's like that's bad for like a 3-and-D guy, right? And then defensively, like when he's focused, yeah, he can play good defense, but he's one of those guys that just struggles to stay focused. So in theory, he should be good. Will he? I don't know, man. Nick Nurse, he seems like the kind of guy that Nick Nurse will be able to get a thing or two out of, but no other coach. Steve Kerr couldn't get a lot out of him, right? And Steve Kerr's a great coach.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He's a handsome man. The
that
ladies
going.
love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just including a lady that
Sell
was
some tickets.
involved with James Harden. But yeah, we need wings. We were saying on the pod 2 weeks ago, yeah, Danny Green's going to end up playing 20 minutes a game. Probably not now. So in that regard, I like the signing. I'll put it that way.
I think it's good. I think it's, like I said, nothing groundbreaking. I think that it makes sense with the Danny Green signing, though, kind of coinciding with itself, because then you have kind of the old seasoned vet, savvy guy. Hopefully can get this kid, somewhat playing some positive time and doing some good things for the team. But, only time will tell. But I'm okay with youthfulness on the team. Harden's old, Danny Green's old, PJ Tucker's old. For player standpoints, not just age in general.
And PJ Tucker's older than me and Trevor. He's
Right.
old, dude.
So
James Harden's the same age as me. Like Danny Green's older than me.
Yeah.
They're old, dude.
So I think
Yeah,
that like
they're like the oldest team in the league, I think.
well, but
It's certainly
Mobamba
up
helped
there,
to average it out. Then you got Oubre coming to averaging it out. And I
Yeah,
think
he's
that like you got
27
these
or something.
savvy
Yeah.
vets on the team too. Like hopefully there's a learning development thing going on too, where like they're training these young guys or maybe making a mold. Oubre went from Kerr's system to a shitty team to hopefully now who knows what we have in the Sixers, honestly. But at
Time
least
will
maybe some time in purgatory where Oubre could have woken him up a little bit, and now he'll get his shit together. But it's a move, a positive one. Like I said, nothing crazy, but I don't hate it.
Yo, he kind of reminds me of Swaggy P, Nick Young. Y'all remember him from like the late 2000s, like early 2010s? He was on the Sixers for a couple years.
Really?
Yeah, he was just this guy that handsome dude. Probably didn't really give too much of a damn about basketball, quite frankly. Was just in the NBA for like the lifestyle, not so much the game itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Kelly Oubre is more of a baller than that, but Swaggy P was kind of ass, dude. He would just come off the bench, chuck up 20 shots. If they went in, great. Like, he'd give you 25 to 30 points off the bench. But nights that the shot wasn't falling, he would tank the entire game. And Kelly Oubre, I don't know if he's quite to that extreme, like I was saying. I think he cares about the game a little bit more. He kind of reminds me of this NBA era's version of Swaggy P. I know some listeners and viewers probably are familiar with Nick Young, Swaggy P, who I'm talking about, and probably agree with me.
Yeah. At this point, I'm just ready to just get weird with the Sixers. I'm not expecting. I don't know what I'm expecting, but it's just like, yeah, fuck it. Let's have 1,000 centers. Let's bring in Danny Green, bring in Kelly Oubre. Nick Nurse is gonna be doing his weird shit. Like, let's just fucking get weird. That's all I can really hang my hat on with this team at this point.
Mm-hmm. He said, let's do anal.
Yes.
No cornfields in there.
Speaking of, so this was something that was floating around after the Kelly Oubre signing.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I doubt they did it in a cornfield. But anyway, so apparently there's some long-standing beef, or I don't know if it's still standing, but this was some beef a couple years ago. James Harden was dating a woman, and then it turned out she was cheating on him with Kelly Oubre. She got with Kelly Oubre and started dating him while she was still supposed to be with James Harden.
Well, I guess he's not coming back now.
Wait, so here's my question. Was this actually like a girl he was dating, or was it like they were both at the strip club and the stripper was like pretending to be really into James Harden, and then it was like, oh, actually, I'm really into this guy, and he's like, oh, damn, you cheating on me?
That's a good question. All I have to
was it really someone you were dating, James?
All I have to rely on is just NBA Twitter and other sources, which is a bunch of gossip. So who knows? But,
we need boots on the ground here. We need to be able to see what's going on in the situation.
Some real gumshoe
intel.
Investigating here.
Yeah.
But apparently Kelly Oubre's married to this woman now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, sick. Well,
I mean,
that could not possibly blow up the locker room if he comes back.
What do you think that's going to be like?
Ass.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're going to be fighting in the locker room. Game 1.
Damn. Well, they're like a weird sort of Eskimo bro kind of thing. So maybe that like brings them together more so than not.
Who knows? Yeah, maybe they're down with threesomes or something. James Harden will be happy.
Who knows? Anything to bring him back.
Yeah.
If that means bring it back, this stripper that he used to go up with that's not married to his teammate.
Maybe this is part of Daryl's strategy,
part
man.
of the deal. I don't know. Some kind of fucked up game. Like you said, we're getting weird here. Let's get weird, baby.
I love how whenever the NBA comes up, these are the type of conversations
that
we're having. No other league are we saying like,
no,
this
for
guy,
real.
It's just like, this is a fucking soap opera. It's so funny.
Dude,
gotta love the modern NBA, man.
It's incredibly dramatic. Like, I have in my notes, like, the NBA drama never ends. The WNBA, right? Players will be on the same team and date. Like,
doesn't matter. No one cares.
Courtney Vandersloot, she plays for New York Liberty. She was, like, married to her teammate on the same team.
Hell yeah.
And, like, no one makes a fuss about it. No one cares.
They got HR?
Like, yeah, I'm sure teams have mediators for stuff like that. But like, players will be on the same team, break up, their wife will get traded. No one cares.
They're
Yeah.
following the deals. They're like, that bitch got a bigger deal than I did. Yeah.
Dude, people will always be like, yeah, women are so dramatic. The NBA has definitely proven that
Men are
in many
equally.
cases, men are more dramatic.
Men are way more dramatic when it comes to sports. I mean, I'll admit to that. I'm very dramatic about my sports.
Same. I think
It affects
all
my
three
whole
of us would probably
mood.
say
When the
that.
Eagles
Yeah.
win or lose, it depends on how my week's going to be. If the Eagles lose, I'm sad until Wednesday or Thursday. Then at least I know that I can like have a beer on Thursday, drink Friday, and then just maybe get excited about Sunday again. If they win, I'm riding high, baby. I'm feeling good. But yeah, it's an emotional. You put all your emotions into one thing like that, especially sports
Or James
Game-
Harden.
or anything.
Strippers.
Game's a game, baby.
But yeah, we'll have plenty more Sixers talking. I guess
Yeah,
2
I guess
weeks, media
camp
day.
starts soon.
Monday, October
It's getting
2nd.
that-
Oh
getting me
my
that
God.
time.
Are we
Might
able to
even
get
starting to get
passes?
into
Should we get
some-
media passes?
Yeah.
I wish we could. If we could get credentialed for that.
Yeah, I don't
Who
think
got a call for that?
I don't think.
Yeah, we don't have
I
any.
think
anyone
I
on
think
the
if we
inside.
got credentialed, we get their credentials revoked pretty quickly once. Like,
Yeah,
if anyone
can
from the team bothered to listen to
I roll my cooler into this
Yeah.
meeting real quick?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean that's really all we got on the Sixers.
Yeah.
At least it was a happy conversation about the Sixers. We laughed
Yeah.
for the first time in a while about them.
Yeah, we weren't screaming about
Yeah.
James Harden or Doc Rivers or anything else with this team.
I guess we move on to our beloved birds.
Bird gang, baby.
ELGLES Eagles.
Eagles.
Damn.
Yeah, that video is funny as
I love
hell,
that she
man.
was so happy the whole time.
Dude, it's the
You
best.
I mean, you'd have to be in a pretty good mood to misspell it that
She
much.
will be, if they keep winning, knock on wood, she will be a part of every Eagles win. That
Oh,
video
yeah.
is going to
She'll be
resurface
posting that
every
every
time.
time.
Like, she's going to be the new clip right there. I
Yeah,
love
I'll
it.
post it every time.
Hell yeah.
Listeners and viewers, y'all, I'm sure most of y'all have seen it by now. It's kind of just been popping off all over Philly since last Thursday's win. But this lady, where was she at? She was at Chickies or some shit.
Either
like that.
Chickies or Xfinity.
That's where they're always interviewing people.
Yeah.
She was at Chickies. Really cute, charismatic lady. Was just stoked on the win. Excited.
Flying high.
her. They interviewed her and her man. And she just goes, "Yep, that's right, baby. ELGSES Eagles." And her man just like, "Yeah." And like doesn't even think twice about what did she just say? Trevor's pulling the video up.
Man, honestly though, I love that shit about this city. You know what I mean? Like win or lose, mostly win. People just get buck and they just start yelling shit, whether they know they're right or not.
Yeah.
Feels good. We said it last podcast. We were like, we haven't been this season yet where they win at home and the whole city, it's a vibe. Everybody's chilling. Everybody's happy. They're saying go Birds. They're relaxed. They're hanging out, having a good time. And it's people like this.
You're looking great. Go Birds. Let's go Birds. ELGSELE.
Might have to turn that up.
Yeah.
But
You all get it.
it felt good, man. It felt good to see people like that just being happy again. You know? Feels good. I mean, love the Sixers, love the Phillies and all that, but the city definitely gets riled up when the Eagles are doing good.
Yeah, there's a different energy when the Eagles win a regular season game versus when the Sixers win a regular season game, when the Phillies win the regular season game, when the Flyers, the Union.
It's only
Certainly
18.
when it's a playoff game, I think the energy's kind of on par
Mm-hmm.
for those other teams, but for a regular season game, just because there are so few Eagles home games, it's a different feeling, and we kind of felt that last week. 34-28 win over the Vikings. Our boy Kirk Cousins, shout out quarterback. What'd y'all think of that game?
Still a lot of stuff to clean up. The passing offense still messy, not quite clicking yet. But I mean, to their credit, I mean Brian Johnson's gotten a little bit of shit the past couple of games, but to his credit, he did make the adjustment in the second half, which is kind of like, the biggest complaint that we've all had about Johnny Gans was that like he just didn't make adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
At least like this guy like saw what was in front of him, made the adjustment. They just ran the ball down their throats the whole second half, and it was just like, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, you want to see more out of the passing game, but it's like, if they can't stop the run, then there's no reason to not just keep doing it. So, Yeah, and then, DeAndre Swift goes off for, like, what do you have, like 160 yards or something crazy like that?
178. I started
Yeah.
in fantasy
2
last
touchdowns.
minute.
Yeah,
I
player
put
of
him
the
in my
week.
lineup. But shout out DeAndre Swift, NFC Player of the Week, dude.
Yeah, that's back to back. Now we had people in their special teams, NFC.
You could have given it to Jake Elliott for special teams again. He bombed a 61-yard field goal.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely some things to clean up for sure, but Hurts right now is averaging a 93.1 quarterback rating and a 98 rating against Minnesota. I think that the score is not indicative to the actual way that we played the Vikings. I think that they scored a lot of garbage touchdowns. At one point we were up by 14 or 13.
At one point we were up 20 points.
20 plus, So I think that, ending it on a close note, yeah, that's fine. I mean, when you have an offense like Minnesota, you should be scoring touchdowns left and right. You got one of the best tight ends in the NFL, arguably the best receiver in the NFL, one of the best rookie receivers also in the NFL. But again, you have a totally unreliable quarterback at Kirk Cousins, and sure is a very nice guy and Christian man and whatever shit he want to talk about in the quarterback thing. But at the end of the day, he still has a big old bitch tattooed on his forehead. The guy can't play in big time games. He can't play when the lights are on and it's nighttime. He can't play in Philadelphia. Decent whatever O-line you got, whatever. I'm over the excuses. That offense should be putting up 45 points a game from Minnesota's standpoint, honestly. And I think that he still had a good game, phenomenal, 300 plus yards, a couple touchdowns for sure. But they all came late minute. Game was over. This team right now, I think, is for the Eagles, that is a complete 180 of what we saw last year. Last year was we got off to a hot start. We aired the ball out. A.J. Brown touchdown, Devontae Smith, big bomb. Goddard's getting involved. Hurts can run a touchdown line, no big deal. This year, until they figure it out, because they have new coordinators on both sides of the ball, the best thing we can do for anybody that's a new coordinator, run the rock. The O-line's the same. You run the ball, take up the time, chew the clock. When you can, make a deep bomb. You go for it, no big deal. There's no need for us to go balls to the wall and throw it all the time until they level set. And we're going to see that in the next week or so. And I think last podcast I said this Viking game was going to be the Welcome to Philadelphia Devontae Swift, or what's it called? DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
And it was. Huge breakout game. Most rushing yards in a game in the NFL right now for a running back this season. It's only been 2 weeks, but still, you have other teams that are going out there going crazy. You got the likes of Bijan Robinson and shit like that still out there. He looks phenomenal.
Yeah, it seems like the past 2 games, defenses are kind of playing us like they're really trying to take away that deep ball. So, I mean,
pick your poison.
Yeah, just take what they're giving you.
Right.
You can't really can't complain,
Yeah, I was glad to see Brian Johnson make that adjustment, because I remember probably the first quarter of that game, we were at McCusker's, me, Trevor, Jonah, shout out Jonah. What was the other? Monty? Monty was there yet? Yeah. I was trying to remember his name. But yeah, we were at McCusker's, and like I was saying to Jonah, I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to be like a hashtag run the ball guy, but for real, man, you can't just come out here and just run these like college passing concepts over and over again. Like, you got to keep the defense honest.
Yeah.
And to his credit, he adjusted at halftime, or I think even probably a little before halftime, but certainly by halftime he adjusted and started to run the ball. They started just spamming the same like inside zone plays over and over, where you just run between the center and the guard. They couldn't stop it.
It doesn't. That's the thing. Like, and I get that you don't want to cause redundancy, but when you're getting 5, 6, 7 yards a carry, what? And when the pass game can't consistently get 4 or 5 yards, like the pass game was very inconsistent. Like when they did go to pass, it was a little bit uneasy. That's unnerving to watch Hurts kind of feel a little bit like he's not confident where he's going with it, which could be just, new play calls. And I get that. But when you know what's working and it works fucking 5, 6 plays in a row, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
He also, Hurts did have that one bomb to A.J. Brown that was clearly pass interference.
That's what I was going to say.
Hey.
So it's
they started to use the run to set up the pass in the second half, and that play was a perfect indicator.
Yeah.
They were I think one of the Devontae bombs, maybe both of them, where after they'd been running the ball down the throats a little
Yep.
bit.
That
So
one over the guy off his back, that was beautiful to see. I mean,
that was a
it's
hell of a
there.
catch.
Hurts there's no knock on his ability. I think they're just trying to figure out what is going to activate what first. And I think right now our identity is you win games with whatever the team gives you. And they're okay with that. We're not flashy. You look at Dallas where,
Yeah, it doesn't need to be pretty.
right, the defense is going to, get multiple sacks and a couple picks and maybe a pick six, and then they're going to run the ball and do whatever what Dallas does. But they got most of their points on field goals. Their offense still isn't really that intimidating, to be honest with you. But the Eagles do what they need to do to win the game. They play very good defense. They make you throw the ball, hence why Kirk Cousins had 300-plus yards, because at the end of the game, 20-some points, that's all you can do. Mattison's been a whole liability. There's a reason why he's always been a number 2 and not a number 1.
Yeah, they traded for Cam Akers
Yeah.
today.
Right.
And apparently Vikings fans were saying some racist shit about Madison.
Well, that makes sense. It is
Oh,
Minnesota.
that's right. I
yeah.
remember, yeah.
So, they want to be all high money on their big high-octane offense. Go for it. You can have your 300-plus fantasy football team, 350 passing yards and 2 touchdowns for Justin Jefferson, and Hawkinson got a touchdown. Go for it. And you still lose the fucking game because they can't hold on to the rock. So I think that it was a good testament to the team where we bend and we don't break. That's what this team's identity is looking like it's going to be for the next few weeks, which isn't the most sexiest identity, but
That was what Johnny Gann's defenses were supposed to be. I don't really know if
I'm not trying to compare it to that. I'm just saying like that's just what they're showing.
know-
right now.
I know what you
That's
mean.
what they're showing. They're not going to do anything crazy. They'll go up on you maybe by the second, third quarter, which has always been our bread and butter, but it's just interesting.
So I guess you talked about them coughing up the rock and the fumbles. I think our defensive line had something to do with that. Our defense certainly came to play.
Defensive line
Yeah.
was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
defensive front's battling, dude.
Yeah, I think the most unexpected part of all of it is how big of a leap Jordan Davis has made.
Hell yeah.
Big
I
time.
don't think anyone was expecting this. I mean, he was a guy that wasn't. I mean, if you go back his college career, he was not a guy who was rushing the quarterback and getting this kind of like pressures and this and that. Last year, kind of saw the same thing, and then obviously he got injured,
Mhm.
hampered his season a little bit. I think going into the season, you were just thinking like, as long as he's like decent, improves a little bit, I think we'll be fine. But he's taking a big leap.
Huge.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought I would see him get 2 sacks in 2 games. In that sack
No.
he had in the game, the last game, just ran right by a guy at
Yep.
his size, just to be able to quick swim move, and you're by him and you're at Kirk Cousins like that. That was incredibly impressive, man.
He's got all like the physical tools. Like he's big as fuck. He's fast, and just like I guess just hasn't been able to put it all together with the pass rush up until now. But like now it's all coming together, and it's quite a thing to see.
Yeah, they had him in on several 3rd and long plays. I think I remember saying to you or Jonah, I was just like, damn, I didn't think he would be playing in these packages that often. Like 3rd and long, I figured you'd see Jalen Carter, which we have. You'd see Fletcher Cox, you'd see Milton Williams, which we've seen all those guys. But shout out Jordan Davis for getting a lot of those snaps too. Not just playing on early downs or running downs. Getting in there, getting to rush the passer, and not only getting to, but actually doing so and making an impact. I'm very excited about him. Josh Sweat, that 1 sack he had where he just bowls the guy over and knocked him out of the game.
Sweat's
Yeah.
been great.
That
so
was
far this
wild, dude.
Like Hassan Reddick's kind of had a slow start, but Sweat's picked up that slack. Like he's looked really good.
Yeah. They're tied for second right now in the NFL for defensive line as a pairing. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, pairings of most pressures on the quarterback in 2 weeks. We're tied for second right now with the Saints. Forget San Fran or something like that's number 1, but to have a rookie and a second-year guy who essentially is kind of like a
Didn't
Ben
play
Simmons
much.
style
He didn't
rookie
play
where
much
like he
last
played
year,
a
yeah.
couple weeks and then got hurt. It's very impressive and a great sign for the future of this D-line. And I think that there's no knock on this defense. I would love a good pressure and all that. It creates turnovers and things like that. We'll get to it when we talk about the secondary coming up. But I think that eventually they're going to have, again, their breakout game where they're going to have, 6-7 sacks in the game again, because that defense, they're right there every
Yeah.
time. I mean, and we don't really,
Quarterbacks are getting the ball out real quick.
and we don't really have the secondary or linebacker core like Trevor's been harping on all season and off season, which is true. You know, you're missing that depth behind them where they're doing their job. They're making them be flustered and get the ball out quick, but those guys are open half the time. So if they can just get a little bit quicker or hit the elbow or something like that, get that ball out a little bit more, I would love to see. I don't want to see quarterbacks, you know, we have the worst secondary in the NFL. We've given up, we're 30th, I think, in coverage like that.
Our secondary's been ass, dude.
You know, and we have back-to-back quarterbacks that threw 330-plus yards on our ass and multiple touchdowns.
Yeah, Mayonnaise Mac and Kirk Cousins, man. We're not talking Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen.
No.
Dak doesn't
Tua.
belong in that category. Tua.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking those guys.
You don't talk about Tua, Brock Purdy. You know, you get guys
Brock
coming
Purdy
up.
doesn't belong in that category.
But he will throw up more yards than Dak. Dak has had a pretty...
Neither one of those guys belongs in the same sentence as Mahomes.
No.
Tua.
But you got Mahomes coming up.
Allen,
Yeah, you got
yeah.
Tua. You're right that way. Herbert.
Yeah.
Did we play Herbert?
No, I don't think we
Did
play Herbert.
No.
Nah,
But
this year.
anyway, the defenses, they're coming together more so than the offenses, which is good to see in terms of a aggressive standpoint.
Yeah.
The offense is very conservative, which is okay because it wins up the game. The defense, I want to see some more blitz packages, some more hits on the quarterback, not just pressures. We'll see how that shakes out. But all in all, I felt good about the game on Thursday night.
So speaking of the secondary, Avonte Maddox is out of the year most likely. What do you guys think? How's this going to impact us? Can they replace him? Do you think that this is just going to be internal stuff? Do they seek a trade, a signing? What are we doing here?
Shout out to Avonte Maddox. Like Pat, I know you and I are of differing opinions on an Avonte Maddox. Remember New Year's Day, walking around the Mummers Parade, you and I had an argument about Avonte Maddox. I think someone was like, save it for the pod. We're already probably about an hour into this, so we don't have to have the Avonte Maddox discussion now, but I'll miss him. I think plays tough, plays hard, but at the same time,
He's always been good, healthy. That's just the problem.
he's just too small to play like that. I think that's just every year. It's caught up to him. He's 5'9", 185 pounds. He's smaller than me.
Yeah.
And like he's up there trying to tackle 240-pound tight ends. It's going to catch up to you. But to answer your question, I think they go internally. That's kind of what Nick Sirianni has been implying to this point. Apparently, the Eagles are one of the only teams in the league that has a coach specifically for nickelbacks.
I saw
Nice.
that. Yeah.
So I think that they can use whoever this guy is to coach up your Mario
Goodrich,
Eli Ricks, like whoever you want to put out there. So I think they're going to look internally, see if they can coach some of these guys up. If it doesn't work, then we see something like a Linval Joseph last year where I don't know what nickel
Pick some kind of
cornerbacks are
savvy
available,
vet. Yeah.
but you bring in someone like that.
I think I don't miss him. And no knock on Avon. I mean, I love Maddox. Great guy. Looks like a great locker room person and stuff like that. However, has he really been here at all? I mean, the last 2-3 seasons he's been knocked out. I literally called this before Thursday Night Football. I was like, he'll have a great first 2-3 weeks and then he'll be gone for the rest of the season. And he did. And it's unfortunate. I don't want to see that for a guy, but you can't be. We don't know if you're a good corner when you only play 1/4 of the season.
I think we know he's good. It's just
No, he's good for, but he's
good for
I think
half a season at most.
But longevity is a attribute of being good in the NFL.
They always say the best ability is availability, which I think is kind of BS, but it's true to an extent.
Right. It is to an extent, but when your availability is only the first 3 weeks in the league, like that kind of hurts us because now we're spending every season where we spend all off season getting you healthy. We're training camp. You're the number one guy. This is your role, and then you get hurt again. It's like, well, now we got to fill this spot again with either backup or a rookie, or we got to go find somebody to learn the scheme with a new defensive coordinator. You hate to see it. Anybody get hurt. There was a big week of people getting hurt, which you hate to see, obviously. However,
Nick Chubb injury. Ugh.
Yeah. However, I think that Avonte, it sucks, but we'll journey on. We did just fine without him last year after the third or fourth week again. So I want to see not Eli Ricks take that role because he's kind of the same build. Let me get Sidney Brown up in that bitch. He can cover a linebacker and put some hit on them.
He did play some nickel in college,
So let him get up in there and assume that role. He's a way bigger fit guy. Honestly, fits the mold way better than Maddox does. But yeah, hate to see it. Not a positive thing at all, but I did call that shit a week ago. The guy just can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
And he plays his heart out. He does well. When he does play, he is.
I feel like he's a great vibes guy in the locker room. Like whenever the Eagles post something on social media where Avonte Maddox is in the video, just has great energy.
He's roommates with Dallas Goedert. No knock about that. I don't give a shit who you play fucking 2K with, but at the end of the day, you got to stay healthy and be on the field. And we're talking now 2 years, 3 years in a row. It's tough. He's only
played one full season once his career.
Right. The only player that we've had that's had, honestly, the same track record is Brandon Graham. BG had that same stretch in the beginning, though, of his career. He didn't really get started yet and kept getting hurt every year. Andy Reid kept him in there. But Avonte, in one of our biggest gaps of the team, we can't afford to keep this guy around. I think this is it for him, honestly.
I think this is it for him,
it's
too. I think they have some sort of option for him next year where they could keep him. I would be very surprised unless he is willing to take some pay cut.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be on the same deal. They'll have to
restructure and he
bring
takes
him back
a pay cut.
Yeah.
But I think it's Sidney Brown time, and I think he's going to show up in a big time.
You think he's showing up next week? Let's talk about next week a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, he's playing slot. He's playing nickel, so you're going to get...
You think they're going to put him out there against Godwin? Mike Evans? A rookie?
I think there's only one way
I'm scared about that one.
I think there's only one way to tell with that. It's going to be a big test, I will say, though, as a whole for this secondary next week. You got Mike Evans, obviously, being just fine with Baker Mayfield back there slinging the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's been a Cowboy his whole life. They got his mind slinging it, closing his eyes, and just winging that shit down the field. It's going to be nice to have Bradbury back, which will be good. But I think it will be I think this will be the hardest test for our secondary as a whole. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is tough to play. Addison's unproven, but you have two savvy veteran receivers that know how to read defenses and play ball. That'll be tricky. The only plus side is that they have no run game and really no tight end. So, we'll see what they do with that. I think Wirfs is out. They lost their center too this offseason to retirement
their center
injury.
I've seen retired. I think Wirfs is back.
Is he back?
Yeah, I think he played last week.
Well, I'm not too concerned about that aspect. So it's going to be a one-dimensional game from Tampa Bay, but I think it's huge that you get Bradbury back, especially because you lost Avonte.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I'm kind of scared about this game. When the schedule came out, I said that we would win, but there's going to be a close one.
Did you see they're also honoring what's-his-face?
Rondé Barber?
Yeah.
Oh,
they made it personal. They made it personal.
Oh, man. That's a bad omen.
They had to go and make it personal.
That's either a bad omen or we come out and stop
him.
He
killed the vet and the link in back-to-back seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, that vet. Ooh.
He killed us in the NFC Championship game in the vet, the last game of the season.
McNabb
boom.
That pick to him.
And then the opening game of the link, bang. Who was it again? Barber. The guy's good, but also, fuck it. We did that shit to Brady too, so I'm not scared about that shit. The guy's not playing the fucking game. Who cares?
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad energy.
It doesn't fucking matter. It's also Tampa Bay. They got no fan. I'm not worried about who they bring on the sideline. Whatever. It's no big deal. They're not playing the game. They can't focus on that.
Yeah.
This is my WIP guy coming out now.
I can tell. But
I love to go to. If you guys, I've heard that their state, not if necessarily you're a fan of the team or whatever. I've heard that they're that stadium is one of the most fun, just stadiums to hang out in or whatever.
I'm sure it is because people probably go hang out and not watch a game because
they have the little pirate ship.
That's why it's always so quiet.
It's
the pirate ship sounds cool. I want to hear that go off.
It seems pretty cool.
Not this week, not Monday, but
I hope it's
in person.
Yeah, I hope that thing's mute on Monday.
Can you stand on the boat?
I think people go out.
That'd be cool tickets.
Yo, can you jump off the boat into the water? Is there things not near?
Can you make him walk the plank?
Maybe.
Might be a liability issue.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
it's-
Yeah, they
Someone.
probably can't.
Oh, speaking of that,
They have
someone
the
just
insurance
died
for
at the
that.
Patriots game. I
I've
saw.
seen that.
Yeah,
Oh, what was that?
there was a fight that happened in New England in the stadium, and someone ended up dying.
Yeah, they,
just in the
they
fight?
got hit in the head.
Yeah,
Jeez.
they left the game in an ambulance, and then they dead, done.
And people think we're bad, man.
We never
Yeah.
killed. Well,
Yeah.
again, we never killed anybody.
Yeah, if that happened,
It hasn't been reported.
We killed him with kindness at the link.
Yeah, now we don't do that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Boston fans are on some other shit. But, yeah, getting back to...
But Tampa Bay, it'll be a
This
tough
game,
game for
yeah.
sure. I had it booked as an easy win again, but now that they're 2-0, Baker Mayfield's got that little bit
He's
of weird
balling,
like
dude.
douche LaRue swag. It'll be a tough game. Our secondary's banged up. It all depends on what our defensive front does, and if Hurts maybe, it's a very intriguing team. There's no like, oh, we're gonna go blow them out this way. It's really depending on like they kind of test their shit out in the first quarter, first half, second. And I hate to say this, but they tend to be more of a second half, second quarter team where they start to make adjustments that they don't usually do historically as an Eagles team. And they find a way to win. That's all I'm going to say.
You got a score prediction?
I'm going to say...
Lions minus 4.5 Eagles right now.
I'm going to say 31-21.
Damn, that's high scoring. See, I don't know if I have us scoring that many points. What I'll say is, I'm kind of scared about this game for two reasons. I think offensively, the passing game's going to look stronger. I think A.J. Brown finally gets off and gets 80 yards in the TD. He feels good about himself. Dallas Goedert gets loose for about 60. But we're playing a good defense with a really good defensive coordinator. Todd Bowles, man, I mean, we're coming off a Brian Flores, a Bill Belichick. We get him. It doesn't get any easier.
Yeah.
So I think we'll struggle to score points. They're going to neutralize the running game with Vita Vea and Levante David in the middle of that defense. I think we end up winning, what do I got written down here? 23-20. I don't have
That's
it
close to what
covering.
I was going to say.
Close.
That's almost exactly what I was going to say.
What you got?
I was going to say 24 or 21. I think it's going to be close. I think the Bucks will cover that line. Not a ton of scoring. But I think I see us edging it out.
I say 31-24. That's what I meant to say the first time.
Gotcha.
21.
All right.
There's no way they don't get a field goal up in there. Yeah, tough, and it is Jalen Hurts' first game back in Tampa Bay after he got absolutely shellacked by Tom
True,
Brady in the
yeah.
playoffs. So hopefully he's got some kind of shit like that going for him. But this team finds a way to win. It's not sexy. It's not cute. It's not flary. But they're gritty. They play good defense. They run the ball. Don't get away. Don't try to do anything too nuts with the offense. Just add a new piece every week. If last week, the first week was Devontae Smith, boom, won us the game. We're good to go. Second week, you added Swift into the fold. He crushed it. Third week, give me either Goddard or A.J. Brown. Let me get one of them get activated in the game real quick.
Be nice. Yeah.
I don't need everybody to get involved. I don't need you to throw your first 6 passes to 6 different people. I don't need any kind of shit like that, weird stats going that way. But one more piece, the defense does its job. I don't see them giving up the game. It's the offense that, keep the pressure on. Run that score up.
Mm-hmm.
You get, But I feel good. 31-24, 23,
23-20,
20,
24-21.
24-21.
Yeah, they're a good team. But, after this past Monday's although I guess the Pittsburgh-Cleveland game wasn't too bad. That Nick Chubb injury was hard to watch. But
Damn, that was tough. Hate to see that shit, to be honest with you.
that Carolina-New Orleans game
Pathetic.
was butt, dude. Oh, my
I'd rather
Lord.
watch a college game at that point.
Yeah. And even the Pittsburgh-Cleveland game wasn't great. So, yeah, the Eagles will give the fans something to watch on Monday night.
Big time.
Yeah, it'd be a little more interesting. So you guys hear about the missing plane?
Yeah, apparently. I didn't know anything about it till today.
The
missing
the
apparently,
F-35. I guess it was found today, right?
Yeah, it was found a few hours
wreckage.
ago, like probably
Yeah.
like 8 hours ago at this
But
point.
it was just like straight up missing for like a day or two.
Since
80
like the weekend. Yeah.
$80 million of our money
Yeah,
just
$80 million
floating around.
plane. It's funny because this story, like, so I guess the guy like who's flying. I don't know what they were doing exactly. Just taking it out
It's like
for
a
a
little
spin.
test flight, you know.
Just
Kicking
hanging
the old
around.
tires.
Yeah, just going for a little joyride. And I guess they kept categorizing it as there was a mishap, which I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, this ain't
And the
fucking
guy
Top Gun. You
ejected.
can't just take the
Dude,
fucking
but this is
planes
the
out.
thing. This is the thing. It reminded. I just recently watched the Top Gun sequel, and this like was exactly what happens in like the opening sequence in the Top Gun sequel. It's like Tom Cruise. It's like they're, you know, they want to keep testing out this plane, and they're like, oh, they're gonna cut our funding, and they're ending this program, and because they want to get to Mach 10 or whatever. And Tom Cruise is like, all right, they want Mach 10, let's go to Mach 10, and like gets in the plane, and it starts like, you know, cranking up the speed like crazy, and it's like, you know, he just keeps pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and finally like it gets to the point where like the plane is like starting to like break up or whatever.
Start shaking
And
like
jeez.
crazy. Yeah.
And so he like ejects, ends up like in the middle of nowhere. He like walks into some like diner or something, and he's like, where am I? Like, and then like the ship, you know, the plane is like God knows where. But I was like, that sounds like exactly what
Yeah,
happened here. But it's like so funny too, because like, I mean, I was like thinking about like why they even need these, like what are people doing in these like fighter jets anymore now that we have all these like drones and all this other shit.
It doesn't really make any sense.
I was saying like Top Gun 3 was gonna be like Tom Cruise. He's like 80 years old.
Just driving a drone.
And he's in the drone. Yeah, he's in the like the Las Vegas Air Base
Yeah.
with the drone. Just
in some shipping
he's, like-
container in the middle of the
Yeah,
desert, just like,
he's
yep,
just, like,
I got him.
dropping. Yeah, he's just like in the like piloting the drone with a little like video game joystick, just dropping a bunch of cluster bombs on like a wedding
From
in
a
the Middle East.
that's how making drones out of cardboard boxes. That's a cardboard box.
To
Yeah.
be fair though, man, like it's probably pretty cool if it, like fly one of those things around.
Oh,
and,
I'm
like,
sure it's crazy fun.
I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
an
know how I
an
feel
$80
about
million
dropping bombs on people, but
Well, yeah, we don't want to.
the whole
But they don't really do
lines-
bombs though. They're like I don't really know what. No one really uses. This isn't World War II. We're
I
not
feel
having
like
big.
I feel like they only use these things to do flyovers during NFL games.
Yeah,
when
this
they're
isn't
doing
like the
pretty
fucking-
much anymore.
This isn't like the Snoopy versus the Red, like the
air
fucking,
shows.
you know, whatever
that's
it
true.
is. Like no one's doing like air attacks, jet versus jet. They're always just flying around, but not doing anything. Like you know,
it's funny in like the Top Gun movie. It's like there's like, you know, having these like dog fights and they're like, and it's
That
like
shit
when
ain't
is the-
happening.
When's the last time
Yeah.
anything like this happened?
Yeah.
Like this isn't World War II or some shit.
that's what I'm saying.
I
Like,
don't
what do
even
we know? And the jet, though, I will say it did look fucking pretty sleek. That shit was sick. The
Oh, that looked
F-35, like,
gangster,
yeah, it
dude.
looked cool,
Yeah.
yeah. But you know, $80 million, and they just because the guy was about
Yeah.
to pass out, so he bitched out and kicked out of the plane. He's like, "Well, that's it." How do you write that shit up as an expense? What do you say when you get back home? Like, this ain't a movie. When do you get back home? You're like, boss,
The alien
lo-
boss, the
yeah.
aliens got me.
I lost the
Yeah.
jet. What do you
I
mean you
saw
lost
an
the
alien.
Yeah, I got shot down by the Mexican aliens.
How does he still have a job after
The
that
Peru
shit?
Aliens.
How do they have a job after that? That's nuts.
Oh, it's just shit happens.
And
you
the
know?
partner in the other plane was probably like,
I mean,
fuck.
fucking the goose died in the first movie. It turned out it wasn't Tom Cruise's fault. Like that's sometimes things go wrong
That's always Tom Cruise's
in
fault.
Top Gun. Well, hold on, I gotta play this clip for this guy.
Yeah, play my
So
man,
it's like-
dude.
So I guess the plane it went down in South Carolina, and this is some guy who I guess heard it.
In the bathroom taking a shave,
Randolph White.
and I heard a screeching, between a screech and a whistle. I said, what in the world is this? And I heard a boom. Then my whole house shook.
White says he didn't realize it was a plane at the time, so he didn't call anybody.
The first thought came to me. I said,
What did he think it
what's
was?
this, a meteorite coming out of
Thought it
space
was
or
a meteorite.
something? And I said, well, if the airplane, it needed to be reported, but the thing was flying just too low.
The F-35B airplane wreckage created an extensive debris field. The wreckage is located off Old Georgetown Road. Military security is very tight, with numerous red and white signs on
Uh,
Yeah, so that's that.
Well,
so.
I love that his in between a screech and a whistle was just a screech.
Yo,
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
meteorites make noise?
I never heard
I've
one.
never seen one. I don't think that guy's seen one either.
Yeah, I mean, a meteorite would wreck this planet, man.
No.
I mean, if it actually
Well, it depends
hit,
on how big it is.
Yeah, if it hit.
No, it
but it's
depends on how
always
big.
like, yeah.
A
Meteorites
meteorite-
are always pretty big, though.
No, a meteorite could be
You're
this
thinking
big.
of a meteor, dude. They're different.
No, a meteor.
Isn't a meteor and a meteorite different?
I think a
I would
meteor.
assume that the meteor is the bigger one.
That's the big boy.
Oh,
the meteorite's like
Meteorite.
the baby meteor.
okay. Maybe that's what I'm
I
thinking.
mean, I'm
of.
sure both could do a significant amount of damage if it's flying.
I
really
feel like things
fast.
that end in "ite" are usually smaller than.
Yeah,
like,
you're probably right.
Or,
You're probably right.
but a meteor though could also be, the size
I
of
feel
a
like
table.
I feel like that's like every few years. It's like you hear some shit from like
right.
NASA where there's like, yeah, there's a meteor that could possibly collide and it would
There is one like
end all
21.
life on Earth, and then it's like Kobe say like, oh yeah, it missed us by a little bit. It's fine, it's cool.
There is one like 2140 something that is supposedly gonna hit the Earth and like destroy everything. But by
2140.
Well,
yeah.
why don't they send some fighter
But-
jets up there to shoot
but
it
by
down
then-
and
Oh,
stop
they
it?
gotta send Bruce
Well,
Willis
you can't
and
send a jet into space, though. You know
all
what
the
I'm
gang
saying?
up there.
I'm sure we could, man. We got all sorts of technology. We
But
could
by
do
then,
that.
like if my
like,
nephews
what-
and nieces have kids and then they live to 80, they're fucked. They're the ones that are they're dead. They're done. If the meteor it hits at 2141, it's only 120 years from now. So if my nieces and nephews live to be like, they have kids at 35, 40, then their kids grow up to be 80, they're done.
It's like if like they finally like solve all this like climate change stuff. We get completely it takes like 100 years or whatever, but it's like we get completely off fossil fuels, all the energy.
You get hit by a rock.
Everything's just completely clean. Everything. We're like, finally, we did it. Like the biggest challenge in human history, where our entire planet was threatened. We finally figured this out and got past it, and then just bam, you just go out like the fucking dinosaurs, like right after.
Honestly,
that shit would
that's
suck ass.
That's
Well-
what's gonna happen. That is what's gonna happen.
I don't want to live in a world like that because that will mean no more gas
Well,
stoves.
no, we're
I'm
gonna
not
be-
cooking on an electric stove.
We're gonna be donezo way
Well,
before
they'll
all this
find a
shit
better-
happens.
You think they will?
I think if they figure out enough
What?
ways to
Nano,
the big stuff, we can still keep the small.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
like
if
me.
if they all
What
like
about
the big.
propane?
I mean, if they find more renewable ways to do like the big like industry, things like
You know, I can keep a
your little
gas
like
stove,
home
okay.
appliances will probably be okay. Because you
Alright.
get a little bit of CO2, so it's fine.
I've
It's just
seen
a
the
lot of
grills
it
in
is the
Chipotle.
problem.
That ain't what I have in the fucking kitchen. So if they can have their gas burning shit out there, I should be able to have my little
Let us
stove.
keep ours. Autism be damned, man. I don't give a damn.
Also, it's only on for like 15 minutes at a time, 30 minutes at
Yeah.
a time.
But like I was saying last week, we're pro autism, we're pro gas stove here. And at the end of the day,
Yeah, we're pro gas stove, pro autism, pro anal sex.
yeah, at the
Pro
end of the day,
PPA.
exactly.
Pro
we're-
PPA.
Pro.
Well, no, he's
No,
pro
He's pro
PPA.
PPA, we're not
Miss
pro
me with
PPA,
that.
yeah.
Look, I just don't think you should be out of the park wherever you want. Someone's got to be the bad guy,
Damn, talk about anal.
Yo, I forgot to pay one of those tickets. I got a notice in the mail. Jesus Christ.
Already? See? That's Trevor out there sneaking around like the
Sometimes-
fucking Grinch over here.
Yeah, so I just gotta pay them
Well,
fines.
At the end of the day, no matter what we do, we could all just be ended by a giant rock.
Yeah, either a giant rock or an F-35 could just crash right into your house.
Damn. Getting that fucking...
You won't.
Money,
be. Your
though.
family will be.
Well, it depends on who's home. Obviously me, Hannah. I would take the hit.
I was hoping you were going to say that. I wasn't going to say it for you.
Just save yourself there. Well, folks, I think that is about just going to do it for us here tonight. Please leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you get a podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. And from all of us here at the Citywide, good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Peace.
See ya.